What the president essentially is doing is trying to pull all the resources to the southwest, particularly Lagos. Many of the oil companies are in Niger Delta, are in the Delta region. That's where they have their operations. But their headquarters are in Lagos. They pay VAT to Lagos. Dangote is paying VAT in Lagos with his factories in the north. What has Lagos done to earn that? So Lagos is getting all of that money. And now you're saying, oh yeah, that money is ours, that money is ours. No, it isn't. Lagos is what it is today thanks to Nigeria's Commonwealth. All the infrastructures were built by Nigerian Commonwealth. The ports, the bridges, the everything. If anybody asks you, you must pay. So people need to be sensible. We are, there is this thing they call in the old Zulu adage, Ubuntu. You are who you are because of me. This common humanity. Northern governors met in Kaduna to talk about VAT. Oh, and they want to accrue more money. Let me say that they were not there for God and country or for the region. They were collecting there because they are not going to get more money. So this selfishness, oh, it's me, it's me, it's me, and the president is following that, it's raising antenna alarm in the north. To all that, yes, and the president has sent a bill, to the House about his tax reform. That is his right as the executive. But it is the right of our representatives, and we are watching them very closely. It is the right of our representatives to fight for us and kill that bill if it does not do well for the people they are representing. End of story. There is no argument. There is no argument. This is what democracy is. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on his own cannot do things without reverting back to the House. And we have our representatives there that we will hold accountable.
Who founded Facebook? The co-founder of Facebook was Eduardo Luis Sabirin, born in Sao Paulo, Brazil, of Jewish Brazilian ancestry. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, was a migrant from South Africa. He owns SpaceX and now X, formerly Twitter. I can name names. Sergey Brin, the co-founder of Google, is worth over $30 billion. He's of Russian background. Rupert Murdoch, the chief executive of News Corp, is of Australian descent. Madeleine Albright, who became the United States Secretary of State, was of Czech origin. Steve Chen, the co-founder of YouTube, is originally from Taiwan. Immigrants build nations and immigrants build civilizations. One of the men in the front seat here has a thriving business in Namibia. He lived in Australia for over a decade, adding value to the Australian economy. Hence, there is a need for us to respect and cherish immigrants. Migrants are the source of life in all societies. Rishi Sunak, the former British Prime Minister, is originally from India. A very brilliant young man. He never denigrated his nation of ancestry, nor poured venoms on India. Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the British Labour or Conservative Party. We are proud of her, in spite of her efforts at denigrating her nation of origin. She is entitled to her own opinions. She has even every right to remove the Kemi from her name. But that does not underscore the fact that the greatest black nation on earth is the nation called Nigeria. 1 out of every 3-4 black men is a Nigerian. And by 2050, Nigeria will surpass the United States, will be the 3rd most populous nation on earth. 1 out of every 3 black men will be a Nigerian.
That's the weakest argument I've heard in forever. But above all, that's like a primary school student argument. Yes, I get it. It's not, his goal is not to argue or make a point, but rather is to draw attention to what is not important, away from what he personally is undergoing through in the scheme of things. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, as a welcome to Honor Politics. As usual, it's all about politics and policy. Nigeria, Rankadede. I totally second with Shettima. Not mind my VP. So your whole point be say your VP cannot do no wrong. No be say you are with it because it's making point. You joke with that and say, man, it's doing well. Nigeria is back on track, and again, God bless Nigeria. Anyway, before we get into the nitty-gritty, whether you agree or disagree with VP, we shall see. I'm going to approach the issue from a different perspective because it is not about agreeing or disagreeing, but it is a win-win situation here for the characters that are involved. But most importantly, I will tell my kids about Kemi, especially my daughters. I will tell her about Kemi Badenoch. Anyway, let's take it back to okay, let's be fair. Let's be fair in this game. You know, let's be fair in this game. Let's take us. Let's take let's take things back
If
to
you have strong convictions, you start with principles, you will not run into trouble when you're at a Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting and people start talking about reparations. And you look at the conversation that Keir Starmer's been having in Samoa about reparations. This is serious stuff. When I was talking about these things years ago and saying we should not be having these conversations, people poo-pooed me and said, oh, why are you talking about this? Just talk about the economy. These things are linked. The economic side and the social or cultural side, whatever you want to call it, go hand in hand. And these other countries look at us as a country that owes them. And if you start down that road, it is not going to end well. If you have strong convictions, you start with principles, you will not run into trouble when you're at a Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting and people start talking about reparations. Because Labour has been playing with these ideas, their student politics informs it, they love this stuff here. Now they're in the big leagues and they realize it's actually causing problems. They don't know how to respond because they have fundamentally different principles from conservatives like us.
all because of politics. Politics is life, my brother. Politics is life. Now, because of politics, is where you did so. The politics that was played before you were born, I land you there so. Anywhere you find yourself, wherever you find yourself, the foundation stem from being politicking. That's how we coexist anyway. See, where I tag today's conversation as a distraction tactics by the second in command, who, by the way, I don't want to be like in this in today's politics because first of all, let me start asking question. Begin with a question. Nigeria man, when was the last time we get vice president from the north where there is no conversation around where he's the next person to take over? Is he capable of taking over? Or we will begin to say, oh, making desire, they will replace that, they will replace that. Because up to now, nothing like that. Even though this administration is centered around this, I keep saying it, the lifeline of this administration are this tax bill. And if we remember, when Bola Tinubu introduced this tax bill, the first place the tax bill stopped by was at the neck. At that neck, Bola Tinubu decided to go away and choose Shettima to be the head of that neck of that. And the neck rejected it, said, no, 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 no. And now the rejection is heavily coming from his own kinsmen, from his own town, from his own. So why I say I don't want to be in situations? What becomes of him after this tax? What becomes of him if, like, I just don't want this. There is so much, especially when you have people like Atiku, who is saying no to the tax, right? I think Kokozo to it directly. That Kokozo is neither here nor there. We have his own political son, his governor, Zulum, who is spearheading the cabal from the governor's angle. So I don't want to be like, I don't want to be in Shettima's shoe. So I understand that among all the things that is going on, it choose Kemi to be the distract action. And now I will come to Kemi's side too. I'm not really, a two-way conversation here. So taking responding to Kemi, which is fucking crazy to me because if you dey follow this platform religiously, you will understand that we have talked about Kemi, we have talked about this issue before. And I said it categorically that she is the incoming prime minister. Now, there's a caveat to that because there's another man that I never and that didn't feature in my preview, which is Naja Farage. But we'll go there. My British listeners, I got you. I got you. I got you. I've done my own work. I've been in it. So it kind of baffles me why Shettima is talking about her now, because the news of Kemi, you know, taking a stand about where she belongs or what she believes in. It's been like a month or 2 months ago, if I'm not mistaken. So why today? Why now? And I mean, I know someone will come and say, "Oh, she don't say another thing again." That's not the fucking point. She has said a lot of she has a lot of her interview that you will get if you go deep. But just to point out some of the conversation I want to frame today's show around. Now, why today? But most importantly, when are we going to start the conversation of Shettima if he's capable of taking over from Tinubu or if he is going to be replaced? Because something tells me that after this whole Buraha, after this whole tax, the man will be on a hot seat in the sense that question will have to be put forward. Is he capable of taking over from Tinubu? And now, that's a narrow question from their own perspective. But on the broader view, is he the best person to go? But we'll see from that angle at the first part. Then again, from Kemi is a trailblazer. Ah, Kemi is unstoppable. Not even a shitty country can stop her from getting to her destination. Anybody who start on her way will be crushed.
If you have strong convictions, you start with principles, you will not run into trouble when you're at a Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting and people start talking about reparations. And you look at the conversation that Keir Starmer's been having in Samoa about reparations. This is serious stuff. When I was talking about these things years ago and saying we should not be having these conversations, people poo-pooed me and said, "Oh, why are you talking about this? Just talk about the economy." These things are linked. The economic side and the social or cultural side, whatever you want to call it, go hand in hand. And these other countries look at us as a country that owes them. And if you start down that road, it is not going to end well. If you have strong convictions, you start with principles, you will not run into trouble when you're at a Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting and people start talking about reparations. Because Labour has been playing with these ideas, their student politics informs it, they love this stuff here. Now they're in the big leagues and they realize it's actually causing problems. They don't know how to respond because they have fundamentally different principles from conservatives like us.
And that must be what's different during Buhari and Oshibanjo or Yaradua and Jonathan. No, no, you have to go back to all the way to Goodluck. Sorry, Obasanjo. When Obasanjo was the president during his own time, of course, the man of the moment, the man in the arena, we'll talk about him in a bit, which is Abubakar, was the vice president. If we remember, just make an over exaggerate, not few months. 2, 3 years into their first time, it was already clear that question was already flowing around that if he's going to be if he's still going to be on the ticket, going to contest again for obvious reason, because the guy was able to galvanize the own power around him, and he was ready to take the passenger on head on, especially when the North felt that Obasanjo they overstretched his power. Remember, the issue of Sharia law had to come to the conversation too. So there was a big conversation around if Atiku is going to be on the ticket for the election, or if the Obasanjo is going to survive. That one, of course, at the end of the day, we were able to, come to their agreement. Remember, recently, Lamido came out and saying that if Obasanjo had to beg, he had to kneel down and beg before he get the second time. Then, and they tagged that second time continuity just to let the public understand that yes, they have come to an agreement that all is well. That's the whole point of continuity. Now, another time that a northerner was the vice president was during Goodluck Jonathan, called a man named Mamadou Sambo. Something Sambo, right? From former governor of Kaduna State. What happened to him? Because in fact, the whole North time was able to gather the rest of the part of the country into agreement with them and kick the old ticket out. Where the guy today? Dead, politically speaking. He's gone. Right? Now, because in a way Atiku was able to be on the northern side, right? One would say that was still the life that is still running on today. That's another conversation entirely. Now, my question is, when Oshibanjo the vice president, I mean, there was this conversations in common. You can agree, say, okay, because of the obvious health of the president there, it's not to run about so, but of course, there was a lot of conversation around Oshibanjo, being capable or being the man to take over. In fact, even went all the way to run against the current president, who happened to be his political godfather. I'm bringing all that out to see the viable and the kind of the vice presidency we've had over the years compared to where Shettima is today, right? The fact that the North is coming out strongly to say no to this tax, even though I know it's not just a bargaining strategy. And the conversation seems not to be channeling towards the vice president's office, even though he's the number one guy, he's number one political guy from the North. It's something that is unusual. It's unusual. Does that mean the guy is is done pretty much after this is done with his age? No more. I mean, Oshibanjo will not say he fuck up, and he fuck up big time. So if we don't see him for political arena again, understandable. But what about him? The man is still there. Nobody is saying, okay, yes. For the fact that the conversation is not being channeled through his office, Means that nobody send them with that. Means that his political picture is pretty much done. So the question is, how long before they will start asking, before the question or conspiracy of a replacement going into 2027 will start gaining traction? Especially when we have Atiku on the side, we have Funkoso on the side, we have Verify creeping in, we have his own son, as I said, Zulum, Bala Mohammed. I mean, these are they are superstar. Anytime, any day, presidential awful. So Rishi Sunak never degenerated. That's that. All these things no be argument. All argument with much children will make. Like the man should rather just keep quiet. But as I said, we'll come to that part why this when the man decided to go that route. So if you follow the pattern of the conversation and the disagreement, the power hierarchy, all the moves that is happening, you understand that I think Shettima is just a clown in the scheme of things. So we have to give it to him is good. The fact that I don't know by now it's a good thing. The fact that the conversation around the around the tax is going on without necessarily him being at the center of the conversation. Even though Tinubu, they put him there, lead the conversation, but the conversation seems to be coming from a different angle. It's not his doing, as far as I'm concerned. This is not say, oh, this guy is smart. He's making no. It's not his doing. So he's lost the control of the conversation. There's nothing. Whatever that happened to that tax, literally he or she has nothing to contribute, and nobody will carry that for or for anything. So what happened? Now what does I mean? So his power and authority that is supposed to command as the number one political figure coming from the north and going into election that gentlemanly favored the presidency going to that angle. I see Oshibanjo was still in the conversation till the dying minute. Yeah, yeah, it be. It's a go and reconcile with Coco so and leave Shettima. Ah! Nigga go reconcile with Coco so. I don't know, we don't dey fight now. I don't fight you, but I like that. I like that. I like that. Okoso he never, is not in the conversation yet. He's trying hard. Say this thing na ranking, by popularity. So he's trying hard. Atiku, even though they shout, is waging war codedly that the media can seems to be getting enough of his signals here and there. So now again, if the conversation is of we no agree, things has to be done, something has to be withdrawn from the bill coming from the north. It seems to be one voice too. That's another thing. And if it's not coming via the vice of the office of the vice presidency, then who is coordinating that voice? Isn't that why? This is why you have to give it to the article. This is article's handwork. As far as I'm concerned. Alright. So if article is leading the is actually in charge of the conversation of things of the bargaining, because as far as I'm concerned, they are just nothing, not they are not to do anything to the tax bill. It's going to pass, but they have to get as much as they can from the presidency, a lot, enough commitment, either going towards 2027 or 2031, before they will let it. So I get the game that is at play. But the fact that it's not coming from the office of the vice president, and the man decided to resort to being clown, being the I don't even know if all this kind of distraction is needed. Or is it a way to say, come on, I'm still here? Because if this is a big fight that is going on, you know, the governors are says to be on one side, the traditional rulers is to be on the same side with them, the senators and everybody. I mean, from the northern angle seems to be on one side on this conversation, and Shettima is actually supposed to be the number one guy, the political figure coming from that side, but it's not. As far as I'm concerned, he's just playing along. He's not in control of the conversation, which tells me that Atiku is in control of the commission. Then what becomes of him going forward? Is this man still going to be Tinubu running me going to 2027? Or is he even going to be in the conversation of being a successor at all? Because taking shot at Kemi, trying to draw attention, I know everybody could jump and all that kind of shit, and it's working. Yeah, it's a good thing. Now, at least he's in the picture again, right? He's in the conversation again. And this is not going to be the end. The guy is still going to respond, right? I was saying Bagbo's right now. It's going to continue unless something they're able to finalize the passage of the tax before Monday. Shettima they waste his time. He can never be president. Same thing applies to Obi. What if Obi and Shettima come together? Let's say PC do Shettima wrong. Anyway, that can never go to that. Let me not deviate. But the idea that they can never is people that I tend to be saying, well, I don't know, man. Make I know. That's the conversation we are still going to have as this progress. So where is the man in the scheme of things? Now, is Northern Nigeria is never in favor of Shettima as VP. Hmm. I don't know about that though. Why you say that? Why you say that? Now on Tinubu use him as a pawn. No, okay. If you, I now, I'm still. You are making a two distinct uh, statement here. You said Northerners were never in favor of Shettima. One, why? Now you said Tinubu used him as pawn. Okay, how? So why they ask this question, because if they not know like so how did you can use Shettima as pawn, as in how you tell, as in like, make me understand something, because when it's easy for you to use, because in this regard, the only place where Shettima hold power sway, I don't know, I say the north, and if you say the north no like how is it now a pawn to garner the northern vote? But you say they don't like him, so I don't like, make me understand. If you, yeah, I'm trying to see the connection there, right? If you say they no like so why will you now use somebody that is not like? as a point to gather votes. So where's the votes? Get vote from where they know like I'm trying to I'm agreeing with the statement you made, but differently. I don't try to see the connection. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to connect it, but you should be able to make case for both of them differently. They were more popular candidates in the north, but Tinubu cannot trust their loyalty. I'm still waiting. I'm still trying to see where that fit in, right? So area. So where that fit in? Is Tinubu. Yeah, same faith to get tickets. That one day, but that again. That's another different. That stand on its own too, right? And that's the question we need. That's why that's why I'm putting that question out there. What becomes of Shettima? Because I agree with Najama. Same faith tickets work in his favor, but again, there are millions and one northerners with that criteria being of the same faith. But most importantly, that no go sell again. It has that's overused its value, right? You don't win the first time. Since they say to get win, you need something more. You need a more convincing message to drive that. That alone cannot do it. Something has to come with. And as I'm speculating, the the gentleman agreement, which is turn by turn deal, will be that message that will be put side by side. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm saying. But now the question, if I'm with you, we are on the same side. It's just that you make two convincing statements that should stand alone, but you try them together. That's why I no fear. I don't understand. And if we want to treat them individually, which is one, the not know to like them. I agree with you. Does that mean it's not going to be on the ticket net? Is that why it's not the control of this bargaining tactics that the North is using in terms of getting Bola Tinubu to agree with some or whatever that is? Maybe we'll find out as the administration progresses. So somebody else can easily be chosen. Now, if we now want to look at it from the perspective of him being a pawn, him being used, I also agree with you. Does that mean it's not suitable for that role anymore? With the fact that to agree with you that it is not liked in the north, anybody can be choose to be used again as pawn if his qualification alone is the fact that he is of Muslim faith to connect it with what Nigerian is saying. You teach Shettima fits when Atiku and Konkoso for not. Ah, ah, ah. I don't want to. I don't want to say yes or no, right? Because a lot of things have to be factored in. When 2027 or 2031. Two, Atiku and Shettima are from the same political region, right? Three, the age difference. That's why I say when would this comparison be? Now, if you say who go fit beat Percy for not, I think Atiku has more leverage. Atiku has more capacity. Atiku has what it takes to defeat both of them in the north, right? So let's put him aside. Konkoso and Shettima. Now that's a different conversation entirely. I am saying that because these are two political figure with different worldview, with different political mechanism, with different way of doing things. In fact, with different uh, um, um, with different political no be even figures. Wetin be this grammar way all this APC they use? Structure. With different political structure, which is crazy, right? They are from the north, but the kind of their political style, right, expose them to different personality in terms of elite and institutions and what have you. So that's why I'm kind of like, I will not say yes or no. Who I can't say upfront who is going to win. Right? You expect me to say Okonkwo Sobe because of his experience and the name that is already there. But there's a but to that because I did not see that there's a thin line between that kind of that way, that style of playing politics and today style, which has to do with the ability for you to combine that with the technology, with the kind of personality that are needed to actually blend those things together, right? Conclusions believe in that old school grassroots running around, which is great, right? Which is excellent, but that's just one part. That's just like 50% of the whole thing. How do you now season in that today way of reaching people, right? There's a whole new because today Concourse is still appealing to those forgotten ones, which is great, but that alone is not going to do it. That alone can only work in some certain area, but it's not going to be enough. And this is where Shettima comes to play, right? Shettima will come from the today's. He can build a movement. It has what it takes to build a movement like the kind of movement that is going run around will be now. So it's not a yes or no answer, but most importantly, that's why I asked: does it stand a chance to even be in that position, right? Because other people see the Erufai too is somebody who, with his ambition, one cannot underestimate him what he can do, right? So it's just more than it's more as we move on, especially we're going to see more personality that will that will I foresee Atiku doing the same thing Tinubu did, right? Put your money behind a lot of younger people to just come and clout the process. At the end of the day, it will only affect the younger. As Tinubu do now, bring everybody to come around. So I see Atiku doing the same thing in the north. You are going to see a lot of people, especially younger ones, women, running to be president come 2031. In all, especially APC, PDP, it doesn't matter which party he belongs to. That will derail. That will just dilute people like them, Konkoso and the rest chance, right? He will stand out because experience and everything will be in his favor. But anyway, that's a long stretch to this thing. We will still get there gradually. As we say, okay, what is Shettima thinking when he wants to pick up to fight with Kemi? Does Shettima think he can rig this argument battle with Yakubu? Someone should. No, 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 no. I like the way you ask the question. What's in the thing? You think it's just an attention gainer. It's a distraction. It has nothing to do with I mean, trying to score a point or anything. As I said, the North is now them be the stopping block for this tax, Tinubu Tax Bill now. And he, quote unquote, is the number one citizen coming from that part of the country. So how do you stand your Oga? Which you go tell them, they come, my younger brother, my elder brother, my wife, my sister, my mother, my father, my neighbor, my king, everybody say they know this thing no go go. so so in order, I mean that's a tough question. That's like between them. So before the media begin to put him on blast, make him better go ahead and take and take control of the conversation. So the best way to do it is to say, "Come, oh, there's this lady there who I know say if I come out, young people, we start the conversation, and it's working." So from that angle, it's working now. My own is the way it is very cheap for you to mention all those, no, if you actually want to you know, make a point to have a conversation. No, mention your own illustrious sons and daughters who are doing exceptionally well at the highest level within the international community, right? We have the likes of Bukuji Wela, which people know who knows him don't win second term in office again, right? Use that as an example. Use Adeyemo, the current deputy treasurer with the White House. Use him as an example. There are so many fucking Nigerians all over the world who are doing exceptionally well that you can bring into the conversation. But you go to make sure the likes of Elon Musk, like the Sunak, that's not kindergarten argument. You don't even follow. It doesn't even make sense. Even trying to use those figures, right? But again, I understand. Waiting, whoever that is writing for Shettima, whoever that they have around him, waiting they did not actually say to think about thoroughly that why is she doing what she is doing? Why did she to choose the route that she took? Why did she decide to use those words that she used? Why did she decide to choose the platform that she chooses? Why now? She is a genius, if you ask me. uh, if it's a distraction, which I doubt, then Shettima should measure his size before going into such battle when his backyard needs massive cleaning. It is a very wrong calculation. Kemi is not his class. I don't know. You just confuse me. You confuse me. I agree with the fact that it should if it should have, I don't know, but how you go see he's a vice president of a country. You know what that means? Well, you know, believe in Nigeria in our country, which is okay. But who is she? She just like she abhorring me too. Abhorring them. Yeah, abhorring them. Uh, 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 she na Damagun, right? Damagun na PDP chairman, right? Now those are the mates. Now I'm them bill. Why they say that? I know they're the same class, right? But not the way you are saying it. She's still. That's why I said people they did not sit down and actually analyze her and why she did what she did or doing what she's doing. She's a trailblazer. She's trying to make history. And you think this shitty country will stand in our way? Hell the fuck no. But most importantly, anybody can afford to take shots at Nigerian the way she did, based on these few things. One, I want to be wrong. I challenge anybody to give me proof. If there's anything like Nigerian, British, sociocultural group, organization, movement, anything that yield power collectively. You know, going to tell me, say, yeah, this one get money, this one this they power, this one they down 10, this one they upside 11. I don't want to hear all that kind of bullshit. Show me an organization that yield power. If there's anything like that, I promise you, not even Kemi, we or anybody else, we decide to take shots at Nigeria in the name of seeking power. But because you understand there's nothing like that, but guess what? There's presence of Nigerian in Britain. But most importantly, we are very loud globally. So the question I will ask you today, when was the last time Nigeria went up in arms against an opposition leader of any country? When? Never happened. But today we are doing it from the top, that's the vice president office, to the bottom of the bottom. And you think that is not her target? She win, she no win. Oh, it go down, we will know who she is by force. But again, because she knows there's nothing we can do, all we can do is to help her advertise her position, her belief, her ideology, what she wants, but most importantly, put the conversation that the larger population of Britain are having on the center stage, free of charge. But again, what people don't understand, that's why I said they don't actually ask themselves question, why is she doing what she's doing? She understands that the ruling party, the current prime minister, that is not a competitor. Regardless of what happened, no country in 2029, that party will lose the election. That's a given. Anybody can prove it wrong with everything. But so she understands that is not a competition. Her competition now the Reform Party leader called Niger Farage. That's a tsunami that is coming. Coincidentally, her party called Niger Farage that will take over from the current. So that's just like exactly what is happening in Nigeria. So Atiku understand that. Yes, now Tinubu be the number one guy, but his real competition now will be just like even at the Tinubu self understand that his real competition now Atiku. So now, when you understand that Niger Farage na him be your competitor, you have to now say, okay, which be the man ideology? What kind of rhetoric is he going to push? Where in go stand? Of course, unless you know follow Brexit. You understand? I'm a para guy that will come in and actually say exactly what she is saying but in a different tone. Because if you use the same tone and the same analogy like Kemi, it should be he will be called a different name entirely, and that will cost him. But he will still give the same message because why? That is what is happening unless you are not paying attention, unless you live in the cave. You understand that there is a changing world order, and that changing world order it will affect you. Either you are involved, you know involved, whichever way you go collect. And the rhetoric that is at the front front of that changing world order na immigration. Trump, go to France, Germany, like everywhere. That is the wave. Now you can agree to disagree with it, so that's not the point. She's literally playing into the trending issues. And God bless her. That is what the majority of the Brits, that's how they feel. So the fact that you cannot, you don't understand the game, you decide to take a shot at the player, then you've lost it. But in this case, Shettima no loss. He know why he decided to go that route. This is a conversation that has been ongoing for almost 3 months. I be how many months this man on the top, right? He is a winner here because guess what? I don't even think even in North or even in debate. They won't even care the debate about the taxes going on. Nobody cares. I don't talk this thing like over a month ago too. Right? But all of a sudden we are interested what he thinks about a woman who anybody who is in a position will do the same thing exactly what she's done. So instead of us to be asking Shettima, you are a member of APC. Your party is pushing a big, big, big tax reform. Where do you stand? This is the policy that you guys run on. What's going on? Why is your people? See, these are the questions the man is avoiding, right? So today now, if you see Vice President now, instead of you to be asking him where he stand there for this tax, you be ask and say, "Come, yes, I understand. You and get da, you know." So the guy is winning. Kemi, for God's sake, man, you have to give it to her. You have to give it to her. As I said, we have never won. I don't know how many Nigerians go stop as a call before Kemi or before who made them give you the leaders of a party who did not become prime ministers. Nobody will tell you. But she's bringing awareness. But most importantly, what people are not getting, the conversation of immigrants has just been taken to another level in Britain. It's just been pushed to the mainstream conversation. That's exactly what our mission. That's what they put out there for to do. Come and draw a narrative. I mean, yeah, these things are just 1, 2, 3 ABC. So you can criticize that all you want. That's not. I don't move anything. I will not change anything. She understands that the Nigerian community in Britain has no power to affect. In fact, they will vote for her massively because collectively they are nothing. Kokoko. So she can afford to do that and still come out on top.
With the leader of the Conservative Party. Let's have a listen to this from Kemi Badenoch's Conservative Party conference speech back in October.
I was born here, but I grew up in a place where fear was everywhere. You cannot understand it unless you've lived it. Triple checking that all the doors and windows are locked, waking up in the night at every sound, listening as you hear your neighbors scream as they are being burgled and beaten, and wondering if your home will be next.
Kemi Badenoch, of course, grew up in Nigeria. She's criticised her experiences there, or what happened to her in the country, a few times. But now Nigeria has hit back in the form of the Vice President. Let's have a look at the Financial Times headline. Nigeria's Vice President launches attack on Tory leader Kemi Badenoch. Kashim Shettima's comments follow criticism by the Conservative leader of the country where she grew up. What do you make of this diplomatic row, if you like?
It's not a very good look for Kemi Badenoch, I would say. But ultimately, when politicians make comments like this, it's always for their own political capital. And I would say the comments of the Nigerian vice president very much buy into something which is happening in the Nigerian media, where there are lots of media figures who attack Kemi Badenoch. And so the Nigerian vice president has seen that and has decided he wants to cash in on that anger for the way that she's speaking about the country that she grew up in after she was born in England. But at the same time, you never saw Priti Patel or Rishi Sunak talk about India in the way that Kemi Badenoch talks about Nigeria. And I would simply say, if you are a Brexiteer and you're saying we need to be expanding our global trade beyond the European Union, we want to be looking at emerging markets for growth, fastest growing markets, don't slag off one of the fastest growing economies in Africa with one of the youngest populations that you have a personal link to. I mean, the Nigerian vice president told her to change her name. That's embarrassing. Imagine how her family must feel about that. So I think she just needs to be a little bit more careful with her language. I think she can make the points that she makes about growing up in Nigeria without upsetting one of the biggest economies in Africa at the same time.
I mean, I suppose she might say, well, that was my experience. I'm just telling the truth as to how I saw it. I mean, she has actually hit back herself. This is from Lucy Fisher, the journalist. Kemi Badenoch hits back following criticism from Nigeria's Vice President. Kashim Shettima accuses her of denigrating her nation of origin. She was born here but grew up there, and suggests she could change her name, as you've said. And her special advisor hits back. Kemi is not interested in doing Nigeria's PR. She is the leader of the opposition in the UK.
But, Joe, I know people who lived in Nigeria in similar areas to Kemi Badenoch and went to similar schools to Kemi Badenoch who talk about a very different experience. I'm not saying those things did not happen to Kemi Badenoch, but the simple fact of the matter is there are other Nigerians, British Nigerians, even people within the Conservative Party who have said these things to me, who have been upset with her approach towards Nigeria. And I think she just needs to be careful not to be too critical, because you never saw British Indian senior Conservative politicians talking about India, similar countries, by the way, in that sort of way. You never heard Narendra Modi saying that about Priti Patel or Rishi Sunak. So why is the Vice President of Nigeria saying this about Kemi Badenoch?
What do you make of this in terms of Kemi Badenoch?
Well, look, Kemi has spoken about her experiences from when she grew up in Nigeria, which was several decades ago. I'm sure that Nigeria today is not the country that it was back then. But Kemi is also known for her very forthright style. Yes. She says it as it is. She's quite an honest politician. She's refreshing in that sense. And as she said, she's getting on with her job as leader of the opposition.
But should she be more diplomatic? I mean, it has caused something of a row here.
I think Kemi was elected as leader of the party in part because, she's got a very forthright style. She has spoken about this from her childhood, which was several decades ago. She is focusing on her job, holding this disastrous government to account.
Yes, but also, at the same time, surely, Bradley, we can agree, it must be pretty embarrassing for the Vice President of your parents' country of origin to tell you to change your name. Like, this is not good PR for Kemi Badenoch, let alone Kemi Badenoch doesn't want to do PR for Nigeria, but she should want to do PR for herself. And this isn't good PR for Kemi Badenoch, in my opinion.
Or is it, Ava, as you said earlier, Albie, a little bit of political spin even for the Vice President of Nigeria?
Well, I don't know. I think it would suggest that perhaps Kemi Badenoch's personality isn't quite suited to being leader of the opposition, because, if she's someone who can sort of begin, or fuel a diplomatic row at whim and then not be too bothered about it. I mean, her response from her spokesperson is almost like a Teflon response. It's like, well, I said what I said and I don't really care. That's not really the way to conduct diplomatic negotiations, is it? Or relationships.
But again, Kemi, she's got this very forthright style. And she spoke about this. It was decades ago when she lived and grew up in Nigeria. Kemi's combative style is what we need to hold this government to account, and that is the job.
It's a Nigerian style. It's a Nigerian style. That's the thing. Well, they are very forthright.
Another group of people who are holding the government to account are out.
I love these people. Najama is a mafia in the UK. That's the whole point. I don't know what I did. The goal is to go out there and put this conversation on full blast. Right? You ever see that guy talk? He said, Kemi combative style is what we need to what? Hold this government accountable. Unless you don't know who they call Naja Farage. Who is going to give them run for their money? That is the kind of energy the man is bringing, right? Kemi just decided to go to be at the front of the conversation ahead of the game. Now, SO say the man is funny talking of what at the whole point. Like, since when name? Because now let's name face, maybe Nigeria will be, and she's coming from a very traditional yeah, how do I classify the Yoruba people again who are very traditionally inclined. She don't change her name already. Badenoch, as far as I'm concerned, that's her name. That's her husband's name. For Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, as a woman, once you marry, it's gone now. Your name is gone. You don't change your name. You don't belong to the where you come from family again. Now, I don't mean that to say, but that's the tradition. Unless they don't tell me all that thing. So, because that guy, I don't know. Maybe when the letter I know they come, that shit ain't gonna work. What's it mean she changed her name? Her name has already been changed. It's fucking crazy, man. That name has already been changed. So, but most importantly, that's for the fact that why I said the way Vice President took is very cheap, but with the kind of example she is using, Musk versus Sunak and all that, the question you should ask, or the Vice President should ask, or we should ask ourselves, do Indians talk about India the way Nigerians talk about Nigeria? Do South Africans talk about South Africa the way we talk about South Africa? So maybe Kemi is actually speaking a lot of people's mind. She's actually talking about our experience. And now, another thing, what people don't understand, why I say she's a genius is, you have to factor her age into consideration. She is speaking to our generation and below. Now, the Gen Z and the Zoomers and the rest that I know, the question will be answered. Is our experience of 20 years ago different from what we are going through today? Why is it like that? So the conversation is going to even go by the time everybody don't come down from their emotion, right? By the time everybody don't come down from their emotion, by the time the government of Tinubu don't get their way finished, you begin ask questions. Everything will come clear, they come. She says she's not lying. Moreover, she's aiming to be the most patriotic citizen that she can be. That's what that position requires. For you to be the number one citizen of the country, that means your what? Your loyalty, your patriotism should not be under question. Alright? I said it. The media are all about being diplomatic. And now PR, even Kemi said she's looking for a PR. As I said, regardless of how we feel, it's not going to affect our election. Nigeria don't have, as I said, anybody can come and prove me wrong. Nigerian embracing don't have blocking, they don't have any voting power. Now, when I mean they don't get voting power, individually you can vote, but collectively they are nowhere to be found. They are just like us in America, like everywhere we did. Everybody all they do anyhow. So when you have a situation like that, you can sort of take shots as all you want. But most importantly, she is speaking the mind of the majority. Again, unless you are living in a cave, if you're living in a cave, then you don't understand the revolution that is going on. That the nationalists are taking over the game.
We have one of the lowest rates in the OECD of maternity pay in this country. Changing that would probably help people make better decisions around family. Do you think we've got the right level of maternity pay at the moment?
So maternity pay varies depending on who you work for, but it is a function, where it's statutory maternity pay. It is a function of tax. Tax comes from people who are working. We're taking from one group of people and giving to another. This, in my view, is excessive. Businesses are closing. Businesses are not starting in the UK because they say that the burden of regulation is too high.
So maternity pay is excessive.
I think it's gone too far the other way in terms of general business regulation. We need to allow businesses, especially small businesses, to make more of their own decisions. The exact amount of maternity pay, in my view, is neither here nor there. We need to make sure that we are creating an environment where people can work and people can have more freedom to make their individual decisions.
Well, it's here nor there for people who can't afford to have a baby, isn't it?
We need to have more personal responsibility. There wasn't any maternity pay and people were having more babies. We need to make sure.
Well, that's because women often had to not work. They had to stay at home. So is that the solution?
You're putting words in my mouth. The point I'm making, Kate, is that we have got to a point where government isn't working anymore and it's tinkering everywhere. Me giving you an exact amount of what maternity pay should be when circumstances are different everywhere is not where we're starting from.
Statutory maternity pay.
It's not where I'm starting from in this campaign.
Man, she hold her own tight, man. So he said, she's not just. There's a reason that she got to the position she is in. Nobody says now just walk over like that. She understand her onions, man. She know where she at. She know the game. She know what's up. She understand the tariff. She's played her. She understand the what. As I said, the changing world order is live and real. She understand that. She's just playing to the gallery. She's motivated by the position that she's in, but most importantly, hey, speaking for the majority of the British people. I beg, this matter is too off balance. Shettima should go and find better things to do. Kemi is just being evil mailed for his own sanity. He should stay always lay with Arab. I know, look, nothing a distraction. The man is in hot seat. That guy, they hot seat when it comes to the issue of the tax bill of Tinubu, is in hot seat. Because right now, everything that is done for is going to be under scrutiny. If you cannot lead in the conversation from the north, especially when the conversation is not in favor of your party policy, man, of what use are you going to the next election? Of what use? So the guy understands. So I feel the man. I know the game way they play, but we see how far we go with that.
Let's overcome our fears. Let us see how economic reforms as being unfolded can be a new opportunity for us to reset, reconfigure, and reshape the economy of our region. Insult, abuses, innuendos, and all sorts of tantrums being thrown to a bill like this will not help us. And for those of us who are representing the people, it is time for you to study the bill. I've seen a senator on TV talking about this reform. It's clear that he doesn't even read what is in the content of it. They just ramble and talk to sentiment. And how can that help?
Now, this is a public figure from opposition party from the north, who is making case in support of the bill. But you, Vice President, and your people are saying no. And you think taking shot at Kemi will work. Well, it's working. The young people who are daily, who will not say anyway, if I had to include myself, because I understand what happened in Kenya. We are discussing Kemi, discussing VDM, discussing Bobrisky and the rest of them. It's all right.
She kind of unloaded this fusillade of absolute batshittery.
We need to have more personal responsibility. There was a time when there wasn't any maternity pay and people were having more babies.
It's a phenomenally strange thing to have said. This is a quote from an article she wrote in the Sunday Telegraph. I speak as someone from an immigrant background. Being born in the UK was like Charlie Bucket finding a golden ticket. I really did win the lottery. I love Britain with the knowledge of how special this country is and how many opportunities it gave me. I also have a hard-nosed view on immigration. Now, I've not cut those things together. Charlie, of course, spoiler alert, wins the chocolate factory at the end. And this is the equivalent of Charlie saying, we will no longer be allowing children in the chocolate factory. Fuck the rest of you. Yeah, exactly. All the chocolates for me. And she also said, we cannot assume all cultures are equally valid. They are not. Kemi definitely had a Weetabix this morning. And that Weetabix was filled with racism. Yeah. She's basically opened up ChatGPT and put right-wing whack job shit to
right-wing GPT.
Make twat GPT.
So the conversation is not just one way. People dey two way, they root for her for what she believes and stands for. It's normal.
The result was Kemi Badenoch, 53,806 votes, and Robert Jenrick, 41,388.
It is our job to make sure that the people who come into the country are people who love this country, who want it to succeed. And I want this country's culture to stay the same. I left another country and came here because I thought it was better. I don't want this place to turn into the place that I was running away from.
You say in your piece also you were struck by the number of immigrants who hate Israel, to use your words. Who do you mean, and how do you know that?
Well, because we're seeing it on social media. We're hearing it. One of the things that I found most upsetting after October 7th was watching people rip down posters of missing, kidnapped children from walls and lampposts in London. We've never seen that here before. I think that is beyond the pale.
How do you know that people who did that are recent immigrants? And if you say you saw that on social media, do you think social media is always a reliable source from where to get your views?
Well, we can get into the nitty-gritty of that. I didn't say only recent immigrants hate Israel. I said I am struck by the number of recent immigrants who hate Israel. It is quite clear that there are many people who have recently come to this country, who have brought views from where they used to be, from their countries of origin, that have no place here. It is not just about Israel. I saw, as Equalities Minister, people bringing cultural disputes from India to the streets of Leicester. I've seen it even amongst African groups. We need to make sure that when people come to this country, they leave their previous differences behind.
Hey, that's the argument the public has made, and they won. Mokuna did there, they think she doesn't know what she's doing. As I said, our competitor is not even the ruling party, but our competitor is Naja Farage, the Reform Party. All you need to understand is you know who Naja Farage is and his stand on this issue that Kemi is putting forward. No different. So it's going to be a fireworks by the time the Reform Party in Britain come into the conversation properly. We'll see.
Our first responsibility as His Majesty's loyal opposition is to hold this Labour government to account. Our second is no less important. It is to prepare over the course of the next few years for government, to ensure that by the time of the next election, we have not just a clear set of Conservative pledges that appeal to the British people, but a clear plan for how to implement them. A clear plan to change this country by changing the way that government works. The Prime Minister is discovering all too late the perils of not having such a plan. That huge job begins today.
Even in Nigeria, Kemi Day, Shettima would have won with the help of glitch that election. Oh, my guy. Say Yakubu don't dey talk say the word. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to what is the word change PVC to computer printed or some kind bullshit like that. Never really pay. I saw the headline briefly. I was like, fuck it. I don't know what he's talking about, but I know we'll get there. So what you are trying to say now, na glitch, na make na they take away from Nigeria.
Our first responsibility as His Majesty.
Kemi Badenoch, of course, we'll hear from her, herself, by the way, a former leadership candidate, out on many programmes saying, calm down, dear, to her Conservatives. And here she is. Let's have a listen.
One person wrote an article saying that he was unhappy. I called him after that and asked him what on earth he was doing, because this is exactly the sort of thing that we have to stop doing in public. We can have private discussions about what is going wrong.
What was interesting, though, actually, just after the programme, a colleague of hers messaged me to say that the key line was when, at the beginning, she said we need more hope and optimism.
People clearly want to see a lot more hope and optimism about the country.
She wasn't having a go at Rishi Sunak. She was very firmly behind him. She did, though, give that nudge to say we maybe have to do things a little bit differently.
Yeah, because it's, as we keep discussing, the message of hope is the one that the voters say they really want.
I beg, don't ever mention Yakubu Muhammad with electoral matter, anything you like, you do. Kemi don't need Mahmoud. Hey, don't you say Kemi don't need Mahmoud, though. Mahmoud will be on ground as an electoral official when the election is going on in Britain. Come what, 2029 or whatever, that they won't have the election. No, and I remember that. I guarantee you that one. It will be a member of the Nigerian representative official within tag. So, you might need on that day to snatch some ballot box. So, no go there. So, I know be, it is in
You know, Ruben Abati's statement that Ndibo do not sell land to the outsiders, it's very unfortunate. It's unguarded, and I think it was meant particularly to malign Ndibo with very ulterior motive. Let me start. My father was into real estate business, and before the war, a man who was not from my town bought a land, had his documents. After the war, the man did not know where the land was, did not have any documents. They told him my father was the honest man. Now point the land to him. He came to my father with gifts and all those. My father said, no, I remember you. I'll take you to your land anytime you are ready. My father took him to his land. And the man turned out to be a bank manager. And he told my father, so it is really true, we still have honest people. Yeah, he is now going to facilitate a loan for my father to improve his business. And that was how my father took loan from the bank and nationalized his transport business, which helped him to become one of the richest men in the town during our own time, because he sold land to somebody who is not from our town. And so when a man now comes to make statements that he's not versed in, then you will know that he has personal anti-Igbo mentality in his gene. Recall that when Nigeria got its independence, University of Nigeria was sited in Nsukka, my town. And that made it a town that everybody from Nigeria came into the land. And it's because they were accommodated. Also, you had a lot of Yoruba, Hausa, coming to University of Nigeria. There were 3 universities then. You had University of Ibadan. They named it after Ibadan. You had Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. And then you had University of Nigeria. So would a town with a people that have been pro-Nigeria from beginning begin to discriminate as to who to sell land to? Would the people whose article in trade is buying and selling begin to discriminate when they want to sell their land? When an Igbo man is dealing in business, he's looking at profit and loss, not where you come from. Now, if Ndi Igbo are doing well in real estate in Lagos and doing well in real estate in Abuja, where did they learn it from? They learned it from dealing in real estate from their own town, from their own place, because that is merely an expansion. You can't give what you don't have. Now, do you sell land to your own people? No. Everybody has land. If you are a man in Igbo land, you're entitled to a plot of land in your own land. So if there was any land sold by Ndi Igbo, it is sold to people who are not Ndi Igbo. And then, how can somebody ignorantly begin to make such statement? Reuben Abati simply celebrated his ignorance publicly. And let me tell you, he offended the legal profession, because in law, you don't condemn a people unheard. You cannot condemn a people without hearing from their side. He just said he borrowed a language from T.O.S. Benson without even knowing the context. And he ran to television and established it and asserted it as a fact. It's against the legal profession. And he condemned Ndi Igbo unheard. What he would have done is to get an Igbo expert to be educated or present him on the studio.
Chimamanda call it danger of a single style story, right? Maybe he's not an investigative journalist. So we forgive him for that. Because if you hear a story from just one person and you not even decide to say come on, this is what I heard. I'll confirm it, verify from the other side of the conversation. You are not just saying it against the profession. You are not supposed to be on national television. Just saying. Just saying. It reminds me of, as I said, Chimamanda, who told a story of his danger of a single side story. And this one who qualifies that one. I'll show you now.
Just before we won the elections and got sworn into office, no thanks to the NBA conference in this same Lagos, in this same venue, I pinned down and trended the internet for almost a month for wearing sneakers to your... I thought that will be the last time I will be invited or I will speak at your conference. However, it is revealing to see that wearing sneakers or not is not a requisition to be at NBA events. Actually, I was the hottest revelation. I could remember the famous Nigerian author, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. When we were holding the conversation up here, she was busy taking my pictures, and, I was wearing my Mango Park suit, I had to retrieve my...
The guy is good at what he does, right? He's good at just getting, taking attention away from where it matters, right? From dressing like, as you said, Monko Park to that. And remember that trend there for a long time? The same thing is happening. And Again, people still not get that the man is, he know what he's doing. He's winning. They are winning. They just don't want the young people to get involved in the conversation of the tax, and that they go suffer them. So, but again, I say when you look at things, when you look at the, if you put the two people, the two characters on the center stage, you understand the game they are playing, and it's working for them. Right? It's working for them. Kemi should be should be studied. Kemi should be studied. She good. Yeah. If that's I neck didn't do you also. You can Yakubu really touch you, man. I don't think you will ever forget Yakubu. You will tell Yakubu, you will tell your grandchildren about Yakubu. He's wearing a Mongo Park suit by a Mongo Park electoral village. Ah, very good. Free, free Yakubu. Let's remember this man.
Any Nigerian who is still hanging around waiting for 2023 to change Nigeria is a fool. Line 20 Daily Faro me up and ask them to become president of Nigeria. 20 of me, 20. Multiply their brain power by 10, factor of 10, and then force them to operate the 1999 Constitution with the governance system that is enshrined in it. We shall fail spectacularly. The problem of Nigeria can never be resolved by personnel changes. The system is designed with impunity undergirding it, and it can never deliver anything positive to the Nigerian peoples. Be those Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, Fulani, whatever they care to be. Make an Igbo man president of Nigeria in 2023 and force him to operate the 1999 Constitution. Complete waste of time. Igbo will continue to suffer the brunt of the wickedness of the Nigerian state. Every Nigerian is rendered stateless by the 1999 Constitution. It is an iniquitous, wicked, and evil document. It has nothing good for the Nigerian people. And the longer we continue to fool ourselves believing, and let me enter one quick caveat. Our rulers are actually very intelligent when they care to be, especially when it comes to their own preservation. And I know as a fact that they're already making noises about restructuring in Abuja. The Mace Snatcher and the Lawan and that one that calls himself Baja, all of them are sat there running helter-skelter, cobbling together some lies that they intend to sell to us as constitutional, what do they call it, amendments. Let's be clear. You cannot continue to build on top of lies. You can't sustain that lie. And as long as justice is missing in a place, you continue to have strife. We need to tell ourselves the truth, and that truth is that the closest we can come to normalcy in Nigeria is to have a return to the original agreements that founded this country. Those agreements are very clear in their fundamentals. One of them, federal system. Nigeria is today not a federal system. Let's stop lying to ourselves. The word federal was brought to life by the American election. Each state has its own electoral body because it is essentially a country within a larger country. That was what our fathers agreed. Nobody agreed a situation where a clueless man will sit down inside a rock and begin to issue edicts and diktats to every other person. Nobody signed on for that in 1960. All the constitutional conferences, beginning from 1948 all the way to the 1951, all the way to 1960, each and every one of them was very clear and unambiguous. Nigeria was meant to be a federal system based on parliamentary democracy. It wasn't by accident that our fathers settled on parliamentary democracy. They wanted to make democracy as close to the people as it could be. So it simply meant that if you're a parliamentarian, you knew your people knew you. It was the aggregation of the parliamentarians that determined who became the prime minister, and they were also the ones at the regional level who determined who became the premier. So democracy was devolved. It was easier for the people to become involved. What we have today is not a democracy. What we have today is not a federation. We've just become a nation of liars who readily accept every lie that we are told.
I said it before. Esozena Mongo Park country. So I feel your vibe, man. I talk and say, in order for us to say these men, they're serious. They will be advocating for dual sovereignty, which is what Dele is talking about. State has to have its own autonomy. Nobody's everything. Now one person going to say for Abuja. Even the regional, this crying for regional government, just a waste of time. If they really want to implement anything to cause change, that's how to go about it. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we got to go now. We'll come back maybe later, but there's an interesting guest coming to Dr. Dameji. That's Dr. Chidi Nikakalu. We'll be on Dr. Dameji by 4 o'clock my time, which is about 1.5 hours from now. So I will be there for sure, and then maybe after that I will come here. I know he's going to say a lot. I will have to take over. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for showing up. So thank you, So Nigerman, I see you. As below area. Thank you and see you. Like, share, and subscribe as you go out. No be Mongo Park judiciary they treat people like borrow to me by Mongo Park process. I beg, go chop at the hungry first. We'll see you later. Appreciate you, man.